Okay, so Bo, Will, do you want to give me a quick elevator pitch on Lula before we kick off?
Sure thing. So Lula makes maintenance easy for residential property managers. We have two ways that we do that. So we have Lula Core, where we run maintenance end to end through our managed network of 9,000 vetted contractors across 51 markets. And then we also have Foresight, which is our AI maintenance platform for operators who want to run maintenance in-house.
Do you want to talk me through how you guys met and how you got here today with Lula?
So Bo and I met at a much younger age when we were teenagers back in a small town of Joplin, Missouri, very much kind of a blue collar town down on the Missouri-Oklahoma border. So we remained friends for a number of years. When Bo moved back to Kansas City, we kind of reconnected as post-college. And we kept trying to find a way to work together, right? And so I think at first, Bo's been an entrepreneur for a number of years. He had his own digital media agency that wasn't really of interest. He was a founding shareholder at RX Savings Solutions after that. Candidly, healthcare is just an industry I've never understood. It's complicated. So that didn't work out. But near the end of his time at RX Savings, he came to me with an idea, which was Lula. And I think my initial take was like, hey, if we're going to work together, maybe we shouldn't invent something. Maybe we should do a business that already exists. And he just said that doesn't sound fun. And so that was sort of the genesis for us starting and beginning what is now Lula. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And do you want to talk me through where it started out? Like, where did the idea originate from and what did it look like then compared to today?
Sure. Happy to. So initially, it was really just from like the pain points of dealing with contractors. I had a house that my wife and I purchased, and we were going to do some renovations. And we went to some lead generation platforms. I tried to GC this whole thing, and just had contractors that didn't show up on time. There was no visibility in the process. We paid some of them that never finished the work, and so we actually went to market as a B2C model. So we were initially went to market in 2017 as a mobile app for homeowners to instantly connect them with immediately available and fully vetted contractors. But we kind of controlled the process, kind of like an escrow of making sure that homeowner had the funds, but wouldn't release them until they were like thumbs up, contractor did a great job. And what we found like a year into the market is that this other market segment that we didn't build this company for, this platform for, was trying to use our platform. And that market segment ended up being landlords. And the pain was so great to find fast resolution through vetted contractors that they were trying to use Lula for that. And that's when we started talking about pivoting, which eventually we did. And here we are today.
Got you. So today you're operating more as a two-sided marketplace.
Yeah, so a lot of people get confused thinking that we're like a marketplace where they can access vendors directly, choose who they want.
Okay.
We're a managed network. So we own the outcome from beginning to end and manage the SLAs, the vetting process, and all of that with our contractors directly. We call them Lula Pros.
Got you. Okay, no, I understand. So it's a pretty traditionally fragmented, inefficient function in the property maintenance space. What makes you guys unique and how does Lula cut through the noise in that segment?
Yeah, I can take that one. Really, we're one of the only solutions out there that's end to end. Like there are companies that will help third-party property managers or owner operators with the dispatch piece. Like we'll intake the work order, we'll send it to some other pro, right? And then there's maintenance companies that maybe have some pros. We're really the only one that will own the full life cycle of the work order, right? So we'll take it all the way from intake to invoice, and we're the responsible party all the way through that life cycle. And that really is kind of a unique proposition. I'd like to say that we're just really smart people and that we knew a lot of years ago if we built out this, dedicated Lula Pro network, that would really be a strong competitive moat. I don't think that we did know that, but we do today. Like it's difficult to do. And they're really sticky. Like that's a part of our customer base too. So we do everything we can to make sure that our Lula Pros feel the love and know that we appreciate them.
Yeah, for sure. And we will dive into kind of the efficiencies and stuff like that. But I know that you guys are pretty well known as the fastest growing PropTech in Kansas City. I know that you're operating in 51 markets. You launched in 2017, so that's huge. What would you say is the secret behind scaling so quickly and the success?
First, there's a lot of maintenance software out there, right?
Yeah.
And we're aware of that. I think a lot of them try to optimize the work order or the ticket, where we've really tried to focus is optimizing the outcome, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's also we present ourselves, we try to have transparent pricing. We have real humans when it matters, and and then building that that fully vetted contractor network has provided us a little bit of a competitive moat in a lot of different ways. But one of them is that we have such buying power across the U.S. that we're able to procure parts directly from manufacturers at really competitive rates. We can control the labor price within our network. And that's allowed us to roll out what we call the flat rate catalog. And so we can give more predictable costs to our customers of saying, for an HVAC replacement, water heater replacement, roofing, it's this price. And we're really excited because here in the next 6 to 8 weeks, we're going to be rolling this out to all of our customers with an expansion of over 600 flat rated services. And the more predictable costs that we can give to our customers, the better outcomes that they can have, and they can also plan better in the future.
Yeah, because I mean, that's something that I've seen a lot as well, is there's almost like a bidding war when it comes to this kind of thing. So is that what you guys are trying to flatten out?
Yeah, it's predictability too. I mean, particularly for third-party property managers, their asset owners are almost always going to ask questions about a price or, is this a competitive rate? Should you go get another quote? And, we want our customers to have confidence and be comfortable explaining that this is best-in-class pricing. And it speeds up the process. If speed of repair is the most important metric in the industry, and it is one of three, to know that the price you're getting is a best-in-class price, it's the same every time. It just speeds up the approval process and gives our customers confidence. So that's direct customer feedback. I think we started hearing it 3 years ago of like, hey, we don't like variable pricing. We want to know what something's going to cost when it happens. And so we're just trying to meet our customer, where they're at, which is to say, it's predictable. This is what it costs. If you work with Lula, you know that's how it's going to go. Yeah,
of course. What differentiators do you offer aside from this that make Lula a no-brainer for your clients?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing that we found over the years is just the pricing structure. The first question people always ask us is like, well, what does Lula cost? And it's like, well, we don't actually charge you to be a Lula customer. We just ask for a certain level of partnership on like what volume of work orders we're going to manage for you. And then since we also have the Lula Pro network, right? Like obviously we make money off of those work orders as they process. But I think that the pricing model is really one that's resonated, particularly down market. We're really, there's not a lot of competitors in the space, but there really isn't anybody that works with that sort of like the NARPM crowd, which is to say like smaller third-party regional property managers. Maybe they have 200 doors. We can work with customers that small all the way up to the largest in the industry. And so I know that from a pricing perspective, that really resonates with those smaller third-party property managers. Yeah,
and so you don't actually charge until the work order is complete?
That's correct, yeah.
Great, okay, I got you. What would you say, since starting back in 2017, what have the main challenges been for you guys, and how have you overcome them?
Where do we start? I mean, look, I think managing, and vetting contractors takes a lot of work. I think early on, it was very difficult to figure out how to acquire these contractors, what the right vetting process was, and then the guardrails that needed in education, frankly, that need to be put in place early on. Over the years, we've put together a playbook of exactly what that process looks like to get to acquire the pros, to get them vetted and get them onboarded, and then what guardrails and the technology need to be there to make sure they're performing the right way. And so, at this point, we've done a really good job. We can open up a new market in, 6 weeks, depending on the number of doors. And I think, early on, you rewind, 8 years ago, I think our second market took us like 6 months, right, to figure out how to open.
It was so daunting, and then now we've got such a tight process. It's just like, where are we going next?
Yeah,
I can think of one other area too where we've seen like iteration over the years. I know early on, and Bill, you'll remember all of this too. We used to get feedback from customers that they lacked visibility into the work order. They're like, I don't have the visibility I need, and I don't think we fully understood or appreciated right off the bat what that meant. But once we did, what they were saying was, hey, I'm managing this work order out of Appfolio or Property Meld. And so the first thing we did was we started doing robust, deep integrations with all the property management software out there in the marketplace, Appfolio, Property Meld, all the others, Rentbind, Rent Manager. That way, there was no swivel chair. They had visibility into what was happening with the work order in their system of record instead of coming to Lula. And so that has been really successful with customers. And then we just recently launched the next iteration of that visibility piece, which is the Ask Lula AI feature that our Chief Data and AI Officer helped to build, which really is just sits over the top of our Slack channels with our customers, as well as browser extensions. So they can just ask what's going on with this work order. And because we capture so much data, since our pros use our app in the field, we're able to provide like really deep and nuanced responses to those customer inquiries. And so I think that's a good example of like how it's sort of iterated and grown over the years to provide a better customer experience.
Yeah, managing all your vendors is daunting to a maintenance coordinator or a property manager, and it can be a revolving door. We offer over 30 services, and so having one vendor that can offer such a wide range of different services versus managing 100 different vendors.
Yeah.
And then the back office efficiency that provides as well. One invoice to one vendor, Lula versus 100, right? And so there's a lot of efficiency gains there.
Yeah, and I think you guys have kind of hit the nail on the head with perfecting the AI layer, because look how much work that's saving you guys.
Yeah, the automation is important, right? I mean, we want 10% of humans to work on the really complex and challenging things, and 90% of the work being automated that's just redundant tasks, right? That's the goal.
For sure. With AI evolution at Lula, you've obviously recently launched Foresight and Lumi, which is your AI-powered work order management system. How has that changed the relationship with your customers? How has it impacted their businesses?
Yeah, I'll kick things off. So we have two offerings, right? And we don't tell our customers which one they need, right? Depending on if they're internalizing maintenance or if they're entirely third party. Like, we let them decide what's the best fit for them. But I think just like as we talk about AI, because that's a hot topic, right? And we'll probably continue to be so. But like a lot of the AI that we see in the space right now, some people are doing some good things, but a lot of it's a wrapper, around a generic model. And I think it doesn't have a lot of proprietary data, versus us where, we didn't bolt on AI. We've earned the data first. And we've also done the hard work of manual coordination years earlier to know exactly all the nuances that we need to automate throughout the software.
When would you say you guys actually started integrating it? Because I know that everyone it's almost, it's become the standard for every product to have an AI layer. I understand that you guys have been using it for quite a while now, so there's a lot of data already embedded, and that's what makes it so unique and stands out in the space. But how long have you guys been using it?
Early 2021 is when we really started to get aggressive at implementing that. Now it's become much faster, right, with how the AI and how it's advanced. But we started that process very early because we thought it was really important, especially for our own business, right, to have good gross margins, and really automate the workflow of a work order where we could.
Could you expand a little bit more on why the data input particularly is so important and why it creates the niche for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, the data around what things cost, right? Yeah. The typical diagnosis of, a lot of the common repairs we see.
How long did it take?
Yeah, how long did it take? There's a ton of KPIs are relevant in this industry, obviously. And then, I mean, let's not forget the resident too, like how the resident feel, right? With what was repaired and the experience is all stuff. We capture a ton of data points, and we know where things can get tripped up in the work order life cycle as well. And then we go to work on the really hard things, the nuances within that life cycle. And we've kind of hit that head on with Foresight. And I think that we've really challenged ourselves to solve a lot of the complexities in that software that frankly, a lot of people don't want to do.
If you ever really think about this as how we built Lula, but the first C-level that we hired outside of Bo and I as founders was actually a chief data officer. So we've had a chief data officer in place, virtually since the beginning, since we're able to afford somebody. And so that's really afforded us a lot of luxuries into how we collect and organize the data, which is paying a lot of dividends now. So I always think of that as kind of a unique structure for Lula as to how we hired leadership. But it was either really good foresight on Bo's part or unintentionally a great decision. So.
And there obviously is spoken about a lot, kind of, whereas AI actually reducing human touch, and where is it not still reliable enough? But it sounds like the data and the input that you guys have had and how long it's been going on and how long you've been integrating it with Lula is what makes it unique. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree. I mean, I think where we apply AI is on the front door of a work order, the intake and triage, autonomous coordination and communication, summarization, like Will mentioned earlier, through the browser extension and Ask Lucy, and then anomaly detection, right? Where AI can't replace humans right now is complex diagnosis, right? Or actually getting eyes physically on the site. That still requires a human, but we try to automate as much as we can through AI through that workflow.
We don't think of AI as how can we replace the people that we have. Like, I think the people that we have and the culture here is like what makes customers so excited to work with us. It's more like, how can we give them a better experience? How can we perform better as a company, right? How can we layer it on top of the people that we already have to have a better outcome, which I think is maybe a little bit unique, but I think it's the right way to think about it.
You touched a little bit on culture there. How would you explain the culture internally at Lula, and how do you feel it has contributed towards success?
Well, I'll let you take this one. I know it's near and dear to your heart. So
yeah, I think people and culture are first in any business, in my opinion, and how we do the work is just as important of the work that we do for our customers. But like, just to take a step back, like, what is culture, right? To us, it's not just our core values on a wall. It's, again, how we do the work, and we instill those core values in how we do the work. But at the end of the day, it's the collective behaviors of everyone in the organization, right? And, grit, working hard, caring for another, for one another, humility, like all those things are important to have a really good culture. And then it starts from the top down, and, living what you preach and working in that way is super important. And I think that's one of the most fun things about this company is we have a really good culture, a really good group of people, and we care for one another, but we care for our pros, we care for our customers, and everything in between.
I personally love when we have a new hire or somebody from outside the organization come in for a workshop, or maybe they get to witness, maybe they're speaker at Lula Days. Like, it feels really reaffirming that those people always say, like, man, you guys have a great culture here. I really love your people, right? Like, that's a good feeling.
Yeah. You guys raised 28 mil in Series A last year. How have you used that capital?
Yeah, I mean, to bring in a lot of talent, and then obviously double down on technology and AI advancements. So it's really bringing in some additional talent. We've added to our executive team with some amazing people, and then really spent a lot on technology. And then obviously sales is important as well. But I would say people and technology is where we're spending a lot of it right now.
Yeah. Like, what milestones should we look out for you guys in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like getting Foresight fully commercialized, right? Expansion within our existing markets, so deeper penetration within our existing markets, and then starting to externalize more tools that our customers can use for their own business to have better insights about how they're performing.
Super exciting. And just a final one as well, I always like to ask, what advice would you give a startup trying to enter the US multifamily space or the maintenance property management space?
I mean, operators buy outcomes, not demos, right? So earn the right to automate, I would say. Pick a wedge and dominate before, you really broaden or expand. And then, like, get involved in this industry. It's still relationship based. You need to really learn a lot. I think that coming from a B2C model to in property management, I think we thought it's still property maintenance. We know enough. And wow, it took several years for us to truly understand how property managers operate and the nuances within this industry.
Yeah, and would you just say kind of like learning and getting to know and just being curious is helped with that?
Being curious is a great way to say it. Yes, it hasn't helped. It's been everything. Like, you have to not just live and breathe the business, but like really obsess over customer outcomes. And that also means, like, we're in maintenance. So let's just say the truth, which is, like, it's not always going to go great, right? Like, it's a mess. It's inherently a messy business that maintenance is, right? And so, like, just having that level of partnership with your customers to acknowledge when something went wrong and how do we fix that from happening next time, like being really responsive. So I think you should obsess over the customer outcomes, and that's kind of how we've done it, mostly successfully, I would say. But like, yeah, it can be a tough business.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's like, customer obsession is one of our core values as well, as it should be with any company, I think. But look, it is maintenance. We're not going to hit a home run every single job, but we lean in when things go wrong to try to figure it out within a partnership framework with our customers, and, try not to repeat those same mistakes if we can. But it's a partnership, right? We don't look at ourselves as a vendor for our customers. Like, we want a partnership relationship because we're in this together, and we both want the best outcomes for the residents, for the asset owners, and for the property management company.
For sure. And great to meet you guys.
All right, see you.